Hey everyone, Dave here, December 1773. With me, as always, is Ryan. This is episode 67 of The Weekly Show, all of the week's hottest topics with a twist. To catch all of the episodes of The Weekly Show, make sure you follow us, YouTube, Facebook, Rumble. If you're watching this video, leave a like, nice thumbs up for us. Put some comments down below so we can comment back, have some conversation with you. If you're watching this live, Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern, I appreciate live chatting, but also leave an actual comment. We've discussed this on the show before. The live chats don't do anything for you. Comments kind of boost the algorithm, as they say. I don't know if I believe them. Depends if you believe big tech or not.
Boost the algorithm.
Boost that son of a bitch. Also, Ryan, I've noticed we had a discussion earlier about the little birdie telling you to swear less. Mm-hmm. How do you think you've done?
I think I've done at least 77% better.
That's a very weirdly specific number.
Yeah, it was going to be 75, but I messed up, so.
You messed up what? Did you do some weird calculation in your head to...
I just was slithering with the sevens.
I don't know what Ryan's doing with his time here. As we normally do on the show, we like to jump into the headlines. Sometimes Ryan has a pre-talking point. I think Ryan was clear for today. Be clear for takeoff, Ryan. What are you trying? What is that?
It's a little insure here. I'm insuring my insure. I'm not sponsoring this product.
We are really out of glass bottles, huh?
Mm-hmm.
This is what it's come down to.
If I can't get Starbucks, give me the shit the kids need to stay healthy. The insure.
I do
full transparency. That's what food stamps does to you. When people buy shit they don't need, people that actually pay for food stamps that other people use, I get it as a benefit. So thank you. However, I got this.
I'm not sure I follow how that happened, but I can insure.
It's like extra food stamp money. You never met nobody who was like, "Yo, I'll give you $100 worth of food if you give me $50." And you're like, "All right, here's $50," and then they take you shopping for $100.
I'll be honest, I've never done this. I don't even know if you're supposed to do this or say you did this.
I
don't even know if I legally have to cut that out of the show. I don't know if it's like a weird felony food stamp fraud or something. I don't know.
I'm not endorsing raping the local taxpayer of its food stamp money, but this does happen. This isn't abuse. I'm not speaking out of school. If there's a will, there's a way.
Let's just get into headlines before Ryan gets carted out in cuffs.
Could you imagine if I got SWAT team during a Skype?
The U.S. is in talks to pay hundreds of millions of dollars to families separated at the border. The government is considering payments of up to $450,000 per person affected by the Trump administration's zero tolerance policy. So much to get to, but can I just point out that we have specifically pointed that our border laws were Trump administration policies? Did I read that correctly?
Yeah, even though they were just the law that Trump was enforcing. He did add to them, right? But the zero policy thing was something
that means he's enforcing the law.
I know, but it was already like an existing thing. He may have added to them. I'm sure there's some technicality with it.
All zero tolerance policy means is that he wanted the law followed the way it was written and not, we have wiggle room.
Yeah. Do you remember when it was talking about how he loves America, how our president went from loving the American people and the average American to we got to help illegals that were negatively affected by our country? Or
they're getting help. So just so we're clear, the government shuts down businesses. They hand out $1,200 checks. People come here illegally, they get $450,000. That's not everybody. That's an up to thing. I don't know the specifics of it. But this is real. This is what they $450,000. I don't care if it's one person qualifies for it. That's outrageous. It's almost $500,000. For what?
It's amazing. I heard a thing this week that actually talked about if the middle class actually knew the type of people that they pay for, there would people would be so upset. And like this is exactly kind of the things they mean. We pay for corporate bailouts through like inflated prices on goods, right? Like all these subsidies they give to all these other things. Then we see theft of our tax dollar through like government bloat or corruption or something like this, which is like just a crazy government policy. This is the wild one, man. It's really
this is just absolute madness. I don't know.
I mean, we talked about it before. I think it was political Stockholm syndrome was what I said. I mean, is this really what they just beat us to death with all this COVID stuff, and you're just so like over everything that you're just like whatever I gotta do, whatever. Like we just all accepted this slow encroachment on all these various aspects of our lives, and then they got to hit you with things about promoting a different point of view that is like anti-American in a lot of ways, you know. So
yeah, I can't believe. I mean,
it's not a coincidence. I've said this before. I'll say it again. I would say this every week. I have zero problem with it. This is not a coincidence. All this stuff's happening at one time. This isn't like by accident. This is these people know what they're doing, and it's dangerous for democracy.
So that's pretty outrageous. This next thing, maybe I should have led with this because this doesn't seem insane by comparison. This just seems like bad policy. Headlines: Biden hopes that fines on lingering cargo containers can ease congestion at major U.S. ports. Just fine them $100 a day per cargo that they have stuck at the port. So if you have 10 things stuck at the port, it's $1,000 a day until that shit's gone.
Why do we?
Well, I was going to say real quick, just why is the stuff stuck at the ports, right? Like that would be the question that somebody would want to know. Somebody trying to get to the bottom of this would say, well, why is it at the ports? That would seem like a reasonable place to start, not just start fining people for having it at ports.
Anything I'm about to say is going to sound like a conspiracy, but it's not.
We don't do conspiracies here.
It's not by accident that all the shit is just waiting. Like I said, do you remember when Trump said we were buying so much stuff that Walmart couldn't keep it in stock, like because we were just buying it so fast, and now we can't buy enough things? Like there's not enough to buy. There's scarcity and shortages and all these other crazy things. Like I don't know why we think that more government intervention is going to solve anything when it's been government intervention that fucked everything up.
Yeah, I mean literally, but I guess that just leads to our famous talking point on the show then.
I mean, they know what they're doing. They really do. I mean, there's clear-cut examples. It's not by coincidence it happens under a pandemic. That, quite frankly, a pandemic that was funded by our tax dollars by extension. By everything that has been currently leaked, our own government and, paid for the thing that killed millions of people and shut the entire world economy down. And now we have to pay for it through not having enough goods, having inflated prices, gas is higher, everything's up, inflation's up, people losing their jobs, the great, what are they calling it when everybody's, the great resignation, there's millions of people quitting their jobs, never this many people quitting their jobs at one time.
I wonder why.
We're shutting down small private businesses, mom and pop, local legacy businesses are dying, all these things. Why do we think more government intervention is going to solve it? Why do we think that fining, by extension, taxing people, fining people by the force of authority with firearms, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, we're going to charge you money. And if you don't pay the money, we're going to throw you in jail. And if you resist, we'll shoot you.
Are they going to have to change this fine to a tax so it's constitutional?
And go further.
Not that they've done that in the past.
Go further. The companies buying these goods that are putting them on them stores, a person like you and I could just go to the store in some of these states and steal it because there's no bail reform, right? I can just steal thousands of dollars worth of stuff. So then the business itself is already having, like, how many problems have been tied to the fact that we just turned off the valve of America? And then once again, we think that in order to get the valve back on, the valve wasn't built by government structure, man. It was a bunch of people trying to make it work as they went along. That's like what freedom really is, right? You gotta crawl before you can walk, and then you run. But we built spaceships here, like.
Yeah,
So I guess
Yeah, all of this was done by people in spite of government.
I mean, it's not by. I mean, think about it. Kevin came on this program and told you very specifically how they control our food supply. This is. I was talking to my father this week about how there's just basically all corporate farming. And if everybody were, do you remember during the pandemic, like when it first happened, you couldn't buy seeds, but you could buy their vegetables. They don't want you to be self-sustaining. That was just like a conspiracy. No, they proved it to you. They shut down gardening centers. They weren't essential. It wasn't essential that you grow vegetables. So I'm relying on supply lines that the government can turn on and off at any time they want, because the government has all these powers on the emergency acts that have been passed by various presidencies long before Biden or Donald Trump. They control everything through FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Association, which was probably started by George Bush after the Homeland Security and all that shit after 9/11 and the Patriot Act. So we're actually seeing like 20 years here of like what government growth can do for the for any need that they deem, quote, an emergency, unquote. You know, they will use the government to combat misinformation, and they'll use the government to shut down local businesses and churches. You have the right to assemble. You have the right to free speech. You have a right to all these, and we've seen them blatantly violate these things. And I really think we're at political Stockholm syndrome. We're at society Stockholm syndrome. And we just accept it because we truly think that things will just go back to normal. When things will, Pandora's box has been open. We have allowed them to constrain our lives to a way it may never go back to normal. So to round it out, they're saying there's going to be shortages of items for Christmas. Plan on that. I mean, really plan. We might be given like sock puppets for Christmas, man. You know.
So we've talked pretty basic economics on the show before, and when I say basic, I mean the most fundamental of economics. And when people talk about tying minimum wage into inflation, that used to be a talking point. I haven't heard it as much lately, but we always said, well, that's just going to drive more inflation. So then you're just circling upwards into this never-ending. It's just going to be inflation and price wages and inflation and price wages, inflation and price wages. It doesn't make sense to do it that way. And I guess now maybe these are just the times when we get perfect examples of this. Headlines: McDonald's jacks up menu prices to survive rising wages, labor shortages, supply chain crises under Biden. I almost said Obama. Holy.
As well, he is like the site. He is on speed dial for Biden, right?
Yeah.
And I've also seen the robots are coming too. You know, like that. Don't let's not rule that out. They haven't. They're not saying that, but yeah, those kiosks weren't put there before the pandemic for no reason. And just to go even further, David, about the economy, like they also just print money whenever the hell they want. So.
Well, yeah, of course.
It doesn't help to these other things. What we're facing is the government printing money and devaluing the money you've already made. It doesn't even matter what I make per hour if the government can print money till my dollar is literally worth less. By the time I get paid, it's worth less. Gas goes up overnight, and my wages don't. So by default, like your money's literally getting worthless by the second in some instances. Mm-hmm. So yeah, it's not it. It's they know what they're doing. We've known this. We've seen this happen in many countries. So,
in this article, it points out that McDonald's would have to raise their prices 10% across the board to even make up for their lost profit just from everything going on, and they're only going to raise it about 4% across the board.
I wonder why they're not doing 10, David. Why are they only doing 4?
Well, because there's only so much people are willing to pay for a Big Mac. So then you get into this. Now you get into this fine thing of, okay, I raised the price of a Big Mac 10%, but is somebody paying $10.99 for a number one? I mean, are they going to? Well, maybe they're making more money now, so now $10.99 doesn't seem as bad. But that creates inflation, and that creates wages have to go up now because now we got to pay for the stuff that kept going up, and You've said this before in the program, and this is perfect. Things don't cost more. Your money becomes less valuable.
Yeah.
So when people talk about, well, all this stuff is so much more expensive, it's not. Your money just sucks. You have shit money.
It's why literally they say when you look back in history, it says asterisk, adjusted with inflation, it would be this.
Yeah. So
I mean, people tell you to buy gold, right? Like gold, buy gold. It never blah, blah, blah. And if you look at the value of gold adjusted for inflation, it's been worth the exact same for all of human history. So
it seems like a good way to tie in your dollar, honestly, would be something steady that always has the same value.
it's probably why they use gold for literally thousands of years, maybe maybe like tens of thousands of years.
They should hold their money to some type of standard, like
it's weird,
like a gold one.
You can tell it's real gold because gold doesn't mix with anything. So if we just heat it up and it melts into pure gold, and then hey, we just let it cool and it's a brick again, be like, oh, that was cool. We know it's real gold. I don't have to like weigh it or guess or anything. It's just gonna be this.
Now, without getting into this too much, there's a reason they got off the gold standard. Possibly two reasons. There could be the conspiracy reason and then the actual economics reason. We're not going to get into that too much, but regardless, this is what happens when you get off of it. Now your money is just it's magic. It can be whatever you want it to be.
And not to mention the people in charge of setting interest rates for all the things the banks borrow from and mortgages and all they're called the Fed, it's the Federal Reserve Banking.
Which is not a government agency.
No, it's not. It's basically like a corporation that prints and monitors all of our money, our economy, and everything else.
The metaverse of banks.
Yeah, everybody is held liable to these things, and they basically were the ones that enacted the ending of the gold standard and enacted the United States petrodollar, which is just paper money. That's what petro means. So not backed by anything. It's just backed by the good word of the United States, which is us, the civilians, and us, our GDP. So I actually told somebody this earlier that if you want to take down America, the reason you have to take down America is because the American dollar is the standard of the world when it comes to trade currency for whatever reason. Mm-hmm. There's many. But the point is in order to take down America, you have to take them out so that you can take their spot because everything has to go through our dollar. So it's basically like, it's the golden goose of the world in a way.
So, I mean, if you get them to fall, I guess you could say that globalism is inevitable.
Yeah, which I mean, like Bitcoin, I'm all for like the digital currency, like because it's decentralized banking, but it's not going to be a vestige of saving corruption from printing wealth to devalue your dollar. There has always been class warfare. This is just the elites, man.
So we have vaguely talked about Kyle Rittenhouse. Every kind of back when it first happened, we talked about it for a little while. Then we just let things settle, wait for the facts to come out. I saw this recently. I thought this was a bold move by the judge, but this is pretty awesome. This is a badass judge right here. Headlines: Judge rules mob members shot by Kyle Rittenhouse cannot be called victims in court.
That's him getting ahead. That's the judge getting ahead of the court of public opinion.
That judge is a badass. You can refer to them, however, as rioters, looters, or arsonists if you'd like.
Yeah, that's him. Awesome. That's him trying to alter the court of public opinion because he knows how politicized this is going to be. It's going to be weighed. You got to think some of these judges have probably never really made a major case. They probably have dealt with people parking tickets and speeding tickets, and now he's going to be under the national spotlight because of a Facebook Live video. So,
and just remember, this judge, I'm sure he has seen what happened recently with, the whole George Floyd thing. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe you got to kind of get out in front of the narrative.
Yeah, not only that, you got to craft your own, right? Because they're already going to do it, right? This guy, basically, it's one local guy in his local community at a job he does. This is like a car washer trying to fight off like a soap company at a global level. You know what I mean? Like this guy just shows up and does his job, and then now it's going to be under the scrutiny of billions of people, quite frankly, if Black Lives Matter had rallies all around the globe.
Mm-hmm.
They burned whole cities across America for a whole year. And were called mostly peaceful protesters, So this judge, once again, but this judge, like his whole record's going to be torn apart. His whole life, I'm sure he's going to get threats, and So for him taking the stance, what state is this? Do you know?
This was Wisconsin.
Okay,
is that correct?
Yeah, I'm sure it's not a blue state if they're talking like this in a courtroom. So for him to get ahead of it, I'm sure he's been. I'm sure he'll be calling some people for security. Yeah, this he's been. Yeah, I mean, really think about it. His judgment could burn a whole town down. Basically, that's the way we got to look at some of these.
I mean, they're going to burn it down anyway. So.
Well, they're mostly peaceful, David.
Mostly peaceful victims. Bill Maher. I don't know what to think about Bill Maher. I don't hate him. I don't like him. I guess he's probably somewhere in that Jon Stewart.
He's like the old school liberal, like the liberal that you could disagree. You could respect.
Yeah.
Like this is actually like a guy like it's not. I don't hate your entire ideology. I just think you're a little wrong. I think you trust the government.
Pretty much. Which recently, this isn't the headline I'm getting to, but he actually recently said something about the blue states making it difficult to do things, and it was pissing him off. It's like, well, all right. I mean, feel free, reach across the aisle. I'll grab your hand and we can fight this together. But I mean, I'm just saying, you've been kind of to the left of the aisle for a while. Your people are the reason for this, and
you fostered this,
right? Like you were a part of this.
Do you remember when Trump came on the scene? They're like, "This was a failure by GOP leadership," right?
Yeah.
Right? I was always like,
"Let's wait, hold on.
Let's apply the same mathematics here, people."
And the same thing goes for this, I suppose. Headlines: Bill Maher fires back at the woke mob, angry over Dave Chappelle's comedy special. Where does this insanity come from? I wonder where this insanity... See, the thing with Bill Maher, and I don't know if people know this, but he was actually a stand-up comedian. I don't think he still does it. He's been doing his show for so long. But that's how he got into everything, was he did stand-up comedy. He was very funny. And he's an old school comic. Like, he believes in freedom of speech first and foremost, and that means whatever you want to say. Now, if you're an asshole, then you're an asshole, but you have the right to say it. And I mean, it's just natural. He's going to defend Dave Chappelle in this, what they're going against right now.
Yeah, they come for the arts first, right? That's the Greeks used to believe that life is nothing but a drama with a comedy. So, which is pretty much all there is, right? There's laughter and tragedy and everything in between. So, yeah, it's not, they come for the arts first, man. It's not coincidence. We've talked about the media, and it's not coincidence with comedy as well. These big media organizations that own everything that we watch, basically 5 big ones, own 95% of the media. Mm-hmm. Or things that we see, watch, or listen, or print, or televised, or produced, are all owned by them. It's not coincidence that whole apparatus is going to fight back against the people fighting back against the system, right? That system that is encouraging all these like-minded things of cancel culture, which didn't exist 6 months ago, but now it does. All the flip of the Orwellian language that we see, that we cover weekly. So,
yeah.
But for fellow comics to stand up, obviously Rogan has been very vocal, and all these other people. I mean, art's not dying, man, and but they're gonna go for all those people, so they gotta watch out, man.
Yeah, well, they gotta make sure everybody doesn't escape the plantation. Just saying, some things have not changed. This is how they're doing it now. It's a little different. We've typically don't speculate, but I will say that we tend to speculate a lot on COVID, and I'll say for the good, we've been right on a lot of things. Mostly because we trust the science that used to exist. We've kind of recreated science for COVID, I think. I mean, we've come out and we do these studies, and then we come out to conclusions before the studies come out even.
What's crazy is there was a time, right, and not saying that COVID is like the common cold, but basically everything that we're seeing as far as symptoms and the ways to fight it is the same way you fight the common cold. Be healthy, wipe everything, cover your mouth, distance people when you're sick, stay home. This is basic. We've known this for millennia, thousands of years. This is just
We literally got taught this in school, like, wash your hands, don't touch your face, don't, cough like this. And it's like literally those three things could have prevented most of this.
Yeah, wiping everything down. And
then,
we've all known this: eating healthy, chicken noodle soup broth, like sleeping, staying off screens. Like, we all see it and know it, and we just act like it's
just a virus. And if you catch it, you catch it, and then you just battle through it, and then you're good. You're kind of good. You're good for a while.
Don't mention that gain of function research helped the thing get. Don't worry about it.
They probably started the common cold.
Only reasonable explanation. But maybe the common cold came from Christopher Columbus and his blankets.
That was smallpox. They say, not that I doubt it, but we've talked about this on the show. We know Christopher Columbus couldn't have possibly done that knowingly, because that was hundreds of years before we had the knowledge of these kinds of things. But no, like as these studies come out and we get more information on these, we kind of show that we're a little more correct on the subject than. I wouldn't say we were surprised. I mean, we knew what was coming. Headlines. Study says vaccinated people easily spread the Delta variant. I'm going to tell you this too. This is a part they're keeping out of the headline. All variants, because you know it. Easily spreads Delta variant in households. COVID vaccine protection wanes earlier than previously believed. So basically what that means is you can spread it and it doesn't protect you as long as natural immunity. Which,
dude, listen to how they skirt responsibility too.
They do word this
what was the ending?
Title down.
Yeah. Like previously believed. Oh no. Previously stated.
Yeah.
You fucks. Like, you lie. You organize. You mandated businesses over previously stated. You guys are liars. We caught you. You literally lied. Everybody was like, "No, look at them." Like, nope, we got to battle this misinformation. So you federalized the whole government to censor free speech over this, and you could just previously thought.
Yeah, well, this is how you control language. Like I said, if you read through the article, the information is there. We've talked about this before. If you just read through titles, you're not going to get there. Study says vaccinated people easily spread Delta variant. Read through it. It's all variants of COVID. It's COVID.
Yeah, it probably was like the Delta variant, as well as other ones found in India, Afghanistan, Africa, and Antarctica.
And then it also says COVID vaccine protection wanes earlier than previously believed. But what it also means is it wanes far sooner than natural immunity, which it also states in the article.
So they don't even reference natural immunity in comparison to spreading it.
Not in the
I wonder if people who have natural immunity actually have a lower chance of spreading it.
So again, read the article. It's there. It's about, let me see if I can find it. As far as the spread goes, I think it was like a 5% difference. People who are vaccinated spread it 5% less, or less likely to spread it by 5%, which is, I guess it's better than 0%, but the opposite end of that spectrum, your natural immunity lasts far longer than your vaccination, which is why they've come out and said that you need 1 shot, 2 shot, booster shot, and keep going. I mean, how many boosters do you need? Are you going to need a booster every 3 months? Every 6 months? We don't know. We have no idea. That's why these studies need to be done.
That's why we need healthcare for all, so we can all go get vaccines that don't exist, because we haven't made them yet in supply shortages.
Yes.
I mean, come on, it's not a stretch, right? Like, we have to globalize the whole healthcare system, make sure everybody's vaccinated to fight against diseases that are made in labs funded by government research.
No, I know.
Half of that was a story. I made half of that up. I just put a couple of things together, and I made a whole comic book storyline, man. This is like...
No, I sent you the picture before we came on here today about President Biden's, I think it was a tweet about the global tax rate. And, I kind of got to thinking about it. Like, the global tax rate is only half the story. Global tax rate means that there's going to be a global central amount of incoming money. So
yeah,
who,
for what though? For what though?
Right, for what? And who decides what gets divvied out, and why is it getting divvied out, and how is it get
Who
divvied out, and what's it get
decides the
divvied out
budget
for?
for the global government? Who decides that? Because I know it's not the poor homeless guy. We gotta tax Elon all of his money. You think that guy needs? You think he cares about you raising taxes? They can afford the tax increase. I just seen a thing. Elon made billions of dollars. Oh, that's weird. It sounds like he's the only guy going to be able to afford the tax increases. I wonder if the movie Wall-E was made with a global tax. Like, that's what made all them ships that blasted humanity to float around the universe for 300 years, and they got all fat and dumb.
Space rings.
You can get on our treadmills. We have treadmills?
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking about, though. Like,
what was the actual tweet? Do you have it handy to read it?
Yeah, I can pull it off my phone real quick.
Because, like, just the wording of it, soon it's just going to be president for life of America. You know what I mean? Like, Trump even referenced that, but we're so close, man. We're talking about a global tax, like a global. You remember when AJ used to talk about a global carbon tax, and they're like, there's no global carbon tax. This isn't going to happen. We're not going to do this. And then here we are, 15 years later.
All right, so here was the exact tweet. Here at the G20, leaders representing 80% of the world's GDP, allies and competitors alike, made clear their support for a strong global minimum tax. Minimum tax. Again, this is controlling language. Just you can get there on your own. This is more than just a tax deal. It's diplomacy reshaping our global economy and delivering for our people.
By globalizing us?
There's so many things that make you go, oh, God. Just reading this one tweet.
It's amazing he tweets better than he speaks. I don't know how that's possible.
Yeah, geez. I wonder why. It's almost like somebody tweets for him. Yeah, I mean... This is madness. Allies and competitors alike. Global minimum tax. Delivering for our people, our global economy.
Dude, what's also so messed up is they say 80% of the world's GDP. Most of the GDP is held in America, first of all. If we hold like 40% of the world's wealth or something, right? But then what do we always hear about from the left? The wealthy, the elites, and all these. Okay, so the 80% of the GDP, which is held by mostly one percenters that you always tell me to hate, all of those guys got together and agreed on something. But it's good for me, right? It's good for me driving my little gas car that's going to be illegal in 10 years. That's good. I'm just driving my little gas car, but the guy that's making billions of dollars makes the cars that I have to buy by law.
Yeah.
And remember, they own the highways, they own the waterways, they own the gas. Speaking of electric cars, I saw a picture today, a meme, that showed a Tesla recharge center.
Mm-hmm. Underwater.
The ground was filled with water.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go just drive in my electric car, park in a puddle.
They can ford water. Some of them. I don't know if the Tesla can.
Plug it in and charge it when I'm standing in water, nice and wet.
Oh, it's fine.
Completing the electric current to the ground.
Not a toaster in a bathtub. This is high-dollar technology.
I seen another video, I think it was a week or so ago, but one of those electric cars just burning with all of its beautiful different colors. Can't wait till those things are just smashing into each other. Oh, but they anti-crash detection. Yeah, but not all the gas cars that are driving around them. They don't have anti-smash technology. My dad's 1995 rot box doesn't know anything. It barely knows it's missing oil. Those are not going anywhere. Unless you're going to have cash again to get all those old cars off the market. I wonder why you want to do that.
I know we've talked about this before. I don't know if we talked about this on the show, about like how some of these electric cars are programmed. And in some instances, they can technically be programmed to kill you. It's in the programming. It just is. It basically makes a choice. Like, well, if you're going to run into 3 people and kill them all, I guess I'm going to kill you instead.
Well, yeah. What's our legal thing? What's our whole legal system really set on nowadays? It's precedent, right? Oh, what came before? Well, nobody's died from artificial driven cars yet, so there's no legal precedent. So we kind of got. This is just a gray area. We're just gonna make this up. This is literally iRobot with Will Smith.
This is crazy.
This
is madness.
I always knew I'd be that guy for somehow. Watch that movie 20. Remember that movie takes place in 2012. It was like 2007 when I seen it. 2002, whatever.
He was about 15 years off.
These are a global minimum tax. Unbelievable. How much is enough? We're going to empower a global government that I can never track, never follow, never see. Are we going to have global voting? Are we globally voting for these guys? Or are you guys picking them by your little inside party? You guys are all millionaires down in DC, but you got my best intentions at heart.
Yeah, I'm sure they do.
The guy
maybe they'll just pick the global leaders. That way, that's too much for us to do. We can barely pick national leaders. We'll just let them pick whoever.
I'm sure they're just going to pick somebody who has managed larger populations, like some, I don't know,
like billion plus populations, like China, for example.
Like a president for life, somebody that's used to the task, like royalty, like
So like the Queen and like Xi Jinping.
Yeah, like they'll probably jig and have a baby.
Yeah, I think they would do good for sure.
Yeah, we'll have a president for life baby.
These people are disgusting.
Like a lot of this used to be fun imagination stuff, right? But we can obviously see. I mean, Build Back Better, The Great Reset. Keanu Reeves says the new Matrix coming out is a documentary.
Did he really say that?
Dude, are you done?
Yeah.
Dude, did you see Facebook Meta?
Yeah, the metaverse. We talked about it last week.
Did you see it?
What do you mean, did I see it? Does it exist already?
It's going to be augmented reality. Zuckerberg's looking at a standing emoji kind of himself, like you're going to be in a room, and you're going to be able to teleport to other people's social spaces and all this other. We're in the Matrix, bro. We're already in it. I bet you what we're living right now is a simulation. I saw a video this week. It was a TikTok that said, unknown things you could do in VR. And it was the person with the Oculus on. They were sitting in a bedroom, and they were playing Nintendo 64 in the virtual reality.
That's officially, that virtual figure is officially in a simulation.
Yeah, look at, I seen the thing.
So are we in a simulation, Ryan?
We have to be. We gotta be. I could play N64. I played N64 in real life.
Who was controlling you with their Oculus?
So I have an N64 right here, reality. I could grab it. I could go in. What's the difference? It looks just as good. I mean, dude, come on. Let me out. Let me out. Let me out now. Let me see how right I was. There's probably death robots and everything. I just happen to be in a little underground bunker. Be like, this is our last chance, guys. You only got one go. We only got one respawn. YOLO.
You'd be so pissed if you got out and you were controlled by a robot.
Like,
robots can't create.
Dude, I went somewhere today and the robot was like, please accept your token. I was like, fuck off. Shut up. Pulling away. I went and got air in my tire. I noticed that the freaking credit card thing had a camera in it. I flipped it off. I
aspire to be Ryan one day. So mad at robots that even convenience robots that are placed there for the simplest tasks. You're just like, fuck you, robot.
I mean, I'm gonna be in the mental institution for fighting off the people trying to help us. Well, robots are here to help us. No, they're not! They're here to take over. Be like, you're just sick, Grandpa. We gotta get you down to the hospital.
Your pills.
You'll be injecting me in the neck. You've worn the same clothes for 3 days. I'm in a simulation. What's it matter? They're not even real clothes. I bought them with cryptocurrency.
Could you imagine someone running up to Ryan at a grocery store like, excuse me, do you know we're in a simulation?
I never told the story about the guy. I don't forget what I said to him. But he had something about aliens. He's like, I seen real photographic images of UFOs. They didn't have this filter over. I was like, well, all right, man, cool. I talked to him, but when he left, I thought he was crazy. That's what I'm going to be. Be like, dude, don't trust that self-scan at Tops, dude. Do you know the self-scans know that you walk up, dude? It goes, and then the screen turns on. You just get near it. Does it got a pressure floor sensor? Or you're just using a camera to infrared the floor and
You're that guy. I'd be the alien guy.
Dave lets a computer rip him off for 2 cents.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. But be damned.
Speaking of that,
let an alien come here.
My little brother actually told me that he had a vending machine that didn't give him change, and he felt ripped off because a computer ripped him off.
I feel like most people are just like, well, fuck, I guess I don't get change, and then they will go about their day.
Just $1.50, you know?
Ryan's getting management involved. Give me my change. I'm not letting the robots win.
I'm tipping over that machine. You know what I'm saying? You caused $1,000 worth of damage. It owes me $1. It stole from me. Where's my emotional suffering? Well, you're a man. No one cares about that. Speaking of that, I seen a thing that a guy won a $10 million lawsuit from somewhere because he was fired because he was white. It begins. It's official.
No. Don't do you. Can't.
What? I was just like.
No.
Solidarity. It's racist. I'm at the 3Ks. Anyways, my Decembertainment this week. Disclaimer: that's not my Decembertainment. I'm going to do a couple other things first. Facebook Metaverse. Look into it. Very scary. We're into simulation already. I can't wait to watch.
Kind of sounds cool. Can I go into Zuckerberg's room and use his barbecue sauce if I need it?
That's what people are focusing on.
Yeah, that shit was hilarious though. Like,
yeah, but they got.
Don't worry about the metaverse. That barbecue sauce was there for a reason, and you know it. He put that there specifically so that would be a meme, and no one talked about the metaverse.
The Aaron Rodgers meme. Have you seen that one?
Oh, it's pretty good.
I did not know that was a real photograph when I first seen it.
It happened during the Cardinals game.
Yeah, I heard. I watched. Pat McAfee broke it down pretty awesome.
Metaverse barbecue sauce.
I'm glad we're talking about barbecue sauce. Sweet Baby Ray's isn't even that good, so.
How dare you? As far as store-brand, store-bought shit goes, it's about as good as it gets. What are you buying at the store that's better? Big chain.
I buy Sweet Baby Ray's. I saw Steven Crowder Instagram story this week, and the shooting with Alec Baldwin and the Rust and all that. He had a thing on there because somebody released a statement, right? And he had the option of like, do you believe her or do you think she's telling or she's lying? So I think
was that the prop person?
I think so, but I
don't know how these live rounds got in here.
Yeah, I kind of think Crowder's kind of taken over the conspiracy wing, the right wing, like Alex had. I'm just calling it now. It's not. I don't know this. I'm just saying. Like, I just kind of thought it was funny. That's what it kind of reminded me of. Was like a more comedy style Alex, right? Like not so intense. More like, oh, do you think she did it, or do you think this is like you'll find out next week on Transformers? You know, like this. It's like this. Like this playful banter and conspiracy. Because once again, Crowder's covered many things that were covered misinformation. So. You already covered the Bloomberg article about UNVAC spreading the Delta variant. One last thing before Decembertainment, people. Did anybody see about how the Kentucky school had a striptease and they had young men dress in lingerie and dance on their male teachers?
Yeah.
In a public school.
Yeah, real quick, is Kentucky on an island? Just out of curiosity.
I'm sure they have islands there. I asked my friend who personally lives in Kentucky. He says, yep, ever since we got that new governor, everything's messed up. So this is open pedophilia. I don't think I don't know why as rational adults we can't say that. If this was girls, God help us, man. Is that the next step? Is that the next thing that they're eroding here?
I'm trying to figure out
This is an embarrassment. This is crossing lines. This is like, dude, I'm not even going to get in the gender thing, but this is what happens when you start messing with things that have been ingrained in civilization since the birth of civilization. We cannot, as people, operate in a different way than we did before. I know we got better stuff and more technology and more science and more math, but we're still the same things that have existed for 100 times as long as we'll be around. We can't just undo that. We can't just uncork this. We can't just allow all these rabid ideas. I've said it before. I don't know if I caught it on this podcast, but Dave knows it. They will mainline pedophilia. So this is a small dose. This is a state level at one school, I know. But in today's age, it seems that extremism is now the new standard. So if this is a standard of what they're teaching young men, highly impressionable men, that this is what men do, or that this is okay and this is acceptable to haze and embarrass men and undo masculinity. I mean, we've seen the attack on masculinity in this country, while other countries like China, globalism's inevitable, is making their men more masculine. I would call that biological warfare. I would call it
yeah, I mean,
warfare.
we're doing it to ourselves, I guess.
Yeah, well, these thoughts aren't American, so I blame it all on the communism. I blame it all on the socialism. I blame it all on these sympathizers that have been in elite positions in our country that have been allowed to flourish. We're only 40 years, we're only 60 years into feminism, and look what it has done to the modern marriage. So this is another thing with all these social sciences and all this shit they've practiced. Look at how they've uncorked. So I remember my last president said Americanism is going to be our credo, not globalism. And now I got to hear that it's inevitable. We're going to have global this and global that. We're going to have a social credit score. Just wait. We're going to have metaverse reality. Just wait. Because you're just going to go to work, right? And you'll be like, oh, I can't wait to go home and escape this crappy reality. Go home, put glasses on, and forget about my life. Then they're stealing your country from you and all your liberties and whatever. I know it's the end of the program, but my point is, like, this is all an attack on humanity, man. Like, we've empowered humanity in the West. They've dehumanized people in the East. So, and I mean that in modern history terms.
And that's the reason for the change and everything, the sudden change, is because that's how they're going to bring down the West.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, once again, I spoke the other week about it only takes one generation, right? Well, I was thinking about this. I've been noticing a lot of things like we used to use payphones. We used to use corded phones, CDs, albums. Like, we can list a ton of things. And I know it's just natural technology gets better and better. But we really come from the old world. My parents, your parents, they all grew in the 70s and 60s before phones, before all this crazy stuff. We were more natural people, in tune with our reality. People could get around without maps, like just real simple. They were like more practical people. Now we're more people of luxury. And we're the generation in between those two things. So as I'm witnessing more death of the old world, I'm realizing how it's not good for us, because we're forgetting where we came from. And we're really, once again, the government appointed rights and what it means, global this and that. We're not empowering individualism. We've allowed the government to define what everything is, and information and jobs and essential. And, they print money and devalue the money. Like, it's literally endless things they've done. And we want to empower these very systems because the people voting for it were taught by the very system that they're told to vote for. The system is teaching us to vote for more of the system. You go to public education, you think you're going to get taught to not think public education is a good thing? Everybody should be educated in our public. I don't think that it needs to be done by the government. Consider me a radical. Speaking of education,
luckily for you, Ryan, you are now considered a radical.
Yeah, I've been on that list for a long time. Speaking of public education, my Decembertainment this week. David, I assume you went to high school.
No.
So I had a family member, a young cousin. She's a junior, and she had the powder puff game. I was wondering if your school did that.
We did that.
Yeah, it's for the chicks play football, flag football, and some dudes dress up as cheerleaders, and it's very funny. Me personally, I was never one involved with much of athletics or academics. I did not take anything in school serious. I thought it was dumb. Thought it was cool to be stupid, and I thought anybody that did anything extracurricular was a douchebag. With that being said, I've realized how dumb I was and how I wasted a lot of good opportunities as a youth of experience. I was just like so ignorant. So I've really tried to get better with that, and I think I do. That's why I think I do the self-education the way I do. But anyways, so she goes to the same school I went to, Depew High School, very close to me. I went there pretty much my whole life. Small local school considering population. You pretty much know everybody you go to school with. And while I was there, man, like I realized how much the school changed. Like they put a new track and field. They invested a lot of money in athletics there, but just to watch people participate in school, man, it really warmed my heart. Especially think about last year, how none of that stuff happened. You know,
Yeah.
Like it was good for the kids, man. My cousin had an awesome time. The juniors beat the seniors, which I thought was kind of funny. You know, like to see like that young like class warfare, right? That like the older kids versus the younger girls and the popular girls, and like just to see all these little cliques and like really realizing how far I come and stuff. It was cool. And to see her class win and her and her friends have fun and stuff was really cool. I was there with my aunt and uncle. It was just us out there supporting her. It rained and it was a shitty day, so that didn't help. But it was nice, man. Going back to your roots a little bit, you know, we say on this program, you know, history and all that. Well, I relived a little bit of my own. It made me feel mighty grateful and fortunate. So I was going to ask you, I know you play hockey, but was that a school thing? Were you like good in school, bad athletics? Like what was your situation in your school years?
Oh, I didn't. Yeah, I wasn't much of a school guy.
Like what'd you do? Just enough to pass?
Oh, yeah.
Did you go to summer school ever?
Oh, yeah. Pretty much always.
Yeah, that was the cool thing to do, man. Jackass was our generation, man. I mean, my friends and I were pretty much the jackass kids of our school. Like, literally, we were Steve-O, Johnny Knoxville, Ryan Dunn, like, literally doing all that, you know. We're riding skateboards, holding on to bumpers, you know, while people are driving on the street with no helmets. We're jumping bikes all over the place. We're breaking into abandoned houses and setting stuff on fire and jumping off buildings and blowing stuff up.
I'm glad no one does well in school.
Yeah, man, and something quick, not to like bash any teaching position or anything, but you know, my daughter, you know, you get the stuff, the checkups from school and all this stuff, and my daughter's plenty smart, you know, and every parent knows that, and nobody wants to think that their kid's behind or anything, but the school was sending me some stuff, and I love how they just act like it's a normal school year.
Yeah, that's totally normal.
My kid's 5 years old, and we've been locked down for 2 years of them. This has never happened.
Almost half of her life.
Yeah, she missed a whole year of her school.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to think about, actually. I never thought of it that way.
Dude, when you're 5 years old, every day is like a 1/60th of your life. You know, like one day is like, dude, think about how many days you've wasted. Well, your kid's life is like equivalent to you've wasted more days than your kid's been alive, man.
That's like for us, like 15 years of.
That's what I'm saying. And we always talk about think of the children and all this stuff and their policy. And then I'm gonna get notes from school, be like, "We're so happy, we're having such a great year, and everybody blah blah." Like, I don't know how you can word things. I'm not gonna allow you to give me Stockholm syndrome and just act like everything's fine when we did stuff that's never been done before, for at least in modern history. It doesn't matter what comes before this because the smartphone, everything, we always talk all the time on this program. It's why I'm happy we do this because we watch the slow little increments, you know, but don't act like this is a normal thing because we're not in normal times. So whatever. Powder Puff game was great. You know, I always love seeing family, and I relish in other people's family. Something else I noticed, you know, like when you see other parents and stuff cheering their kids on. That was something else I used to always like. I guess maybe I was jealous because I didn't feel like I got that all the time. But like, you know, like those parents that like really care, man. It's good to see it. Like,
Brian, maybe maybe you didn't get that because you were breaking into houses and setting shit on fire. Just saying, your mom and dad's up front, like, yeah, go Ryan. Burn,
Good thing I taught you. Oh, pick the lock.
burn that bitch down.
I've broken every house I ever lived in. You know what I mean? Like, just sneak out at night. You know, whatever. I guess
I feel like we're better for it though, in a weird way.
Yeah, I'm better for it.
Do you like agree? Do you like? I feel like in a weird way because we did certain things when we were younger. Like we're better now, more prepared for shit to go south.
Well, what I really realized when I look back, I realize how far I've come, and I realize how much of a better person I was than I was when I was 15 or 16. You know, and like, you know, the 1% better every day is what I live now as an adult. But when I was a kid, I never had the idea of progress. I never had the idea of like depression or like some of these things we talk openly about in society that didn't exist. We didn't talk like this. Oh, I have anxiety and social anxiety in middle school. Dude, nobody gave a fuck. You went to school and got bullied. Nobody cared. You know, like it was just a different time. Fine. But my point is like, I really look at now, I'm proud of how far I've come. You know, like it's so like I really feel like I'm unstoppable and I'm on fire because like the person I was yesterday, let alone 10 years ago, is like anybody who I was told by somebody like you're the same dude in high school, and I laughed. I was like, oh, you know, but in my head I'm like, dude, you have no idea. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I hold doors for little ladies now. I would never do stuff like that necessarily. Like it's just that's a dumb example, but no, I really relish in how far I've come, and I'm proud of it. So, come on, student. What do you got? A dog?
Yeah.
Ugh. Dave with his wiener.
That's my ween. It's Axel.
Axel Wiener.
Axel. What? You can't get down. You came in here. You have to live with your decisions.
And I'm going to live with the decision that this was a great podcast. I appreciate everybody stopping by and tuning in. This is Dave and Ryan with December 1773. And Axel agrees. We drop live at 7 Eastern PM on Mondays. Follow us YouTube, Rumble, Instagram, Facebook. And I'll see everybody at the premiere. Engage. Please like the video. Share the video. Thank you, David. Thank you, everybody. And I'll see you guys at the premiere and also next week. And also, last thing, everybody have a happy Halloween. This will drop the day after Halloween. Hope your kid, all that safe and all that. And yeah, what's your kid going as? Do you know? He
is going as Bendy. Are you familiar with Bendy? Bendy and the Ink Machine. It's a game series. Pretty solid.
Cool. Your old lady looked awesome as Poppy. So
yeah, I didn't know what Poppy was. She said I'm going as Poppy. I was like, all right, I don't know what that is. It's from the Trolls. I was like, all right.
Benefits, boy, man. I seen Trolls on repeat.
Did you?
Yeah.
Well, apparently the kids at the school loved it, so I guess.
Oh, yeah. Trolls is a hit, man. Justin Timberlake sings his ass off. Anyway, I'm bringing sexy back. I'll catch you all later. Peace out, Dave. Have a good Halloween.
Yeah. See everybody.
Lopez!